She has a bit of time in the morning when she wakes up and she doesn't want them on. She's quite happy to wait half an hour while she gets dressed. And when she sits down to have her breakfast, I check them. So I put the connector on and listen through to check the microphones work okay. And then she's very happy to put them on. I've learnt some BSL to help support her. So we do a bit of sign in the morning and bath times and bed times. And particularly if we're in a noisy place where she can't always hear very well, I'll do some sign with her.
Daniel's equipment, he's got the advanced Bionics Neptunes, and he's actually really good with them. He'll actually ask for them in the mornings now, so we've actually got into the habit of everything stays upstairs with us. He'll get up in the morning and we'll sign to him, does he want his implants, and he'll say yes. Which then whichever one of us is sat on the bed with him will go through. He quite enjoys sort of sitting there and looking at them, and he'll try and switch them on and off himself. And so we sit on the bed and we'll go through and we'll test the microphones, so we'll plug all the headphones and put the test pack on. And we'll do all of the ling sounds into the microphones, which is what we've always done with his hearing aids as well as implants, so it's just something we're carrying on, which is already part of our routine. He'll quite happily then put them on in the morning, and apart from when we're getting him dressed or something, he'll pretty much keep them on all day unless he gets frustrated, which I think a lot of them do, and then they'll just knock them off.
In the mornings, we go into Ted's room, and now the first thing he'll do is say, and he'll want his processor put on. So the batteries are charged every night, so we collect the batteries from the charger, collect the Neptune processor from the dry box overnight. Ted's now quite interested in working out how the battery goes in to the processor. So we put the batteries in the two processors, and the wires in, headpieces on. He wears them on a belt around his waist, so they go on the belt goes on, the coils go on his head, and we use the little clips on the back of his shirt to, so if they fall off, they are easy for him to get back on.
The equipment, she's very happy to have it on. There were times when she didn't always want it on, and I had to bribe her in ways to make sure that she did put them on. And also, sort of around 2, there were a lot of tantrums, and so the cables would get pulled quite a lot, and she was pulling off her ears in defiance at something. And that was when the cables would often break. So we had to get them replaced quite often. That was quite straightforward. We just call up the implant centre and they would send out some that would get to us the next day usually. And we always had a spare, so there were never any times when she wasn't without them. We had a few more problems recently with the processor, the AB processor, that it would just switch itself off. Again, we contacted the implant centre and Advanced Bionics, who sent out a new processor that got to us the next day. So again, that was great and really helpful.
So
again, that was great.
To bed, we check that all the pieces are working. So we listen to the microphone, listen to the wires, make sure they're not crackling. And that they're all working, and there's no dirt got into the microphone to block it up at all. And then put them in the dry box in case of any moisture has gotten into them in the day. Ted's got quite good at telling us if one of them is not sounding quite right. He just usually pats his head and says, uh-oh, if he thinks one of them isn't working too well. We have had times where they seem to turn themselves off by themselves. I don't know whether it's because we weren't sure whether it was because where Ted wears the processors round his waist, possibly where he's sitting in the car seat is pressing the on-off button. So sometimes we've found that one of them hasn't been on, and then we haven't known how long one of them has been switched off for. Because Ted can sometimes tell us when they're not working, but if he's very busy and one of them's still working, he won't always tell us that the other side hasn't been. I tend to go online and put an order in, put a request in for a new set of wires, and they'll come within maybe the next day or 2 days. And then we just make sure the batteries are rechargeable, and we make sure we charge them every night, and they will last his day. He still has a nap in the middle of the day, so we take them off, turn them off. But if for some reason he hasn't slept, when it gets to about 7 o'clock, the batteries will be running out. They'll start beeping to say that they're running low, and then we'll need to change them.
There's not been many instances I've had to use the repairs line yet. Obviously we've only had them for 8 weeks. I did within the first days before he was actually wearing them, because I managed to break one of the magnets, but they had a new one out to me the next day. From what I've experienced so far and from what I've heard other people saying, that they are very quick and getting the repairs out to you if you do need them.